Welcome to the second in-person meeting for the Youth Council on October 19th, 2022. It is currently 12:33, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to take attendance. Just say here when I say your name. Okay. Ahmed Othman.
Here.
Ali Atui.
I think he said
Okay. Elizabeth Menjivar.
Here.
Juliana Spalding.
Here.
Madeline Naper.
Here.
Matthew O'Brien.
here.
Paige Arkansas.
Here.
Sadie Lomnack.
Here.
And Thomas Baronato.
Here.
Okay. I don't think there's anyone from the public wishing to speak, but so okay. Next on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes from October 3rd. Ollie, do you want to speak on that?
We can't hear Ollie.
So it's not on your end.
Okay,
Okay, we can hear you now. Okay.
you can hear me now? Okay, so let me give the summary for the meeting minutes. To start, our chair, Vanessa Westlake, called the meeting to order just after 5 o'clock p.m. Town Councilor Jonathan Shines spoke in the public comment section and introduced himself as the Town Council Liaison to the Youth Council. Following my summary of the 921 meeting minutes, we voted to unanimously approve them. Following this, Vanessa introduced herself as chair, Madeline introduced herself as vice chair, and I introduced myself as clerk. A bit later in the meeting, Kevin Fontanella joined the meeting and introduced himself as the school committee liaison to the Youth Council. Next, Kat gave an overview of each of our liaison assignments and stated that she will be sending out email introductions with liaisons and expectations. Paige gave an update about her feminine hygiene products project and explained how she communicated with the food pantry and learned that they do not normally receive and distribute feminine hygiene products. We had a discussion and Paige said that the goal of the project is to improve access to these products across Wakefield businesses and public places. We then had a discussion about our presence at Town Day, and we decided different things we will be doing and promoting. Google Classroom for the Youth Council, and Paige doing a Google Calendar for our events. Community not have any updates not covered by previous discussion, and before Madeline asked when the new Youth Council members will be joining us, and to answer, will likely be joining us before the end of October. The meeting was then adjourned unanimously. Does anyone have any questions?
We're all set? Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
I motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll read down the list now. Ali Atui,
Yes.
Ala Othman,
Yes.
Elizabeth Menjivar,
Yes.
Juliana Spalding,
Yes.
Madeline Naper,
Yes.
Matthew O'Brien,
Yes.
Paige Arkansas,
Yes.
Sadie Lomnack,
Yes.
and Thomas Baronato.
Yes.
Okay. Next on our agenda are the liaison updates. Catherine, I don't know if you wanted to speak on that.
Sure, and then Madam Chair, do you mind if after I give the liaison updates, if we move one of the item numbers up, a liaison spotlight for Juliana, since Juliana and Allah have a field hockey game to get to?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. Right, so the everyone should have received an email introduction. Can you raise your hand if you checked your email and saw your email introduction with your liaison? Great, and I did see that some of the liaisons have already emailed back to you. Feel free to either respond back to them. If you don't hear from your liaison, you can feel free to send them an email, just following up the one I sent. So I saw some of you did do that. And the goal is between this meeting and the next one in 2 weeks, just to establish contact with them. If you have a meeting set up, great, or if you plan to attend one of their meetings, but just to establish some sort of contact between now and the next meeting with your liaison update. And if you want to present for your liaison committee, just let Vanessa know that you'd like to be on an upcoming agenda.
Sounds good. Any questions about that?
Does anyone have any questions about liaisons and expectations? I tried to spell them out in the email there, but we can also be flexible.
Okay. Next, Juliana, would you like to speak about your Safe Street working group?
Sure. So I attended a Safe Streets meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we pretty much talked about how we wanted Town Day to go. They were really happy with Town Day. They had a bike valet service, which it went really well. We also talked about the Safe Streets events in the past summer, and they're hoping to have 4 more events, 2 more in the spring, 1 in the summer, and 1 in September. They would like to have some volunteers there, but we need to plan them out more still. Oh, and there's also a Safe Streets workshop tonight at Galvin at 6:30, today being October the 19th. It's about safe transportation, and you can go if you want to have a say in like safe streets and safe transportation. If you want to learn more about it.
Was that the master plan
Yeah,
workshop?
that's the master plan workshop.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, I mean, that would be great if I know you all are extremely busy, and I think tonight's a marching band rehearsal night and some other people have things, but if anyone, I will be at the master plan meeting tonight, so if anyone wants some town type planning experience, it'd be great to have a youth council representative there.
All right, that's my update.
Okay. Did they mention at all about safe routes to school initiatives and?
They mentioned like about how the back to school first couple of months are really busy, but not much about initiatives.
Okay, so maybe like we can follow up on kind of how we left things with safe routes to school, and I know that when we worked on that last year, there were some recommendations, and maybe we can see where those are at as far as some of the walking routes to Galvin and the walking and bike routes to the high school in particular.
Okay.
Because I've noticed at Galvin, the walking routes have changed and it's a little unsafe where students are crossing on the North Ave side. So, I don't know. And we've only got Sadie here representing Galvin, so we'll get some more information.
I can talk about it at the next meeting.
Do you know what any of like the upcoming events are, like what they have planned?
Well, the next events are in the spring. They're just like safe streets and teaching people how to bike safely, hand signals. There was a lot of kids that turned out at the last one. I believe there were like 800 people that went through in a day. It's just about like safe biking.
And we have Brian over there might know something too.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All right, great.
Are there any questions for Juliana? Okay. The next item is the Wakefield Town Day Debrief. So on October 8th from 1 to 4, we had a successful event. It was a great opportunity to promote some of our other events and kind of show the public what we do here at the Youth Council. We had a great volunteer turnout, especially because I know there's the marching band competition and our busy schedules. So thank you to everyone who volunteered on Saturday. I was not there, so Madeline, did you want to update us on how the event went?
Yeah, I thought it went really, really well. I was really happy to see how many younger kids were coming up to the table and asking about what we do and saying like, oh, like that sounds really fun. Like when I'm older, like I'll look into it. Or like a lot of parents who are like, my kids are still too young right now, but like in the future, which got me like really hopeful that this will continue for like years and years and years. I have like some different recommendations here from like ideas that people around town had like asked if we could help with or help be a part of a lot of the things. Or there were some things that were like not necessarily things that we could help with, but that I think we could pass on to the other councils that we're liaisons to. Yeah, I think that was about it.
Could you give us an example of some of the suggestions that came up for the
Yeah.
youth council to kind of take a look at, or?
So like there were some that were like better lighting and things that were just like kind of vague that I wasn't really sure about.
So better lighting, like at parks, or?
I'm not really sure. It kind of just
Okay.
says better lighting. So there were like some things like that, but then there were other things that were like in terms of talking to the different schools or the school committee or something, like things that they think should be taught, like money, things about like more values, stuff like that. I don't know.
So, like, teaching financial literacy in schools?
I think so.
Okay.
Moderating traffic at the middle school. So like we were saying with like safe streets. Like cleaning the lake and like so taking care of there were a lot of people that were talking about taking care of the town, like the leaf or the trash cleanup that we did last year. So those were just some examples, but there were like quite a few here, and there were some that were like I'm not really sure that we'd be able to help with, but there were others that I think we could definitely pass on.
That sounds good. So who volunteered on Saturday? I don't know if anyone else wants to speak about the event.
I think I was there for an hour, and yeah, basically what Madden said, a lot of people did come up, and it was pretty nice to see everyone ask questions. Also, like having something there, like we had the hot chocolate there, that also like brought people in, and then allowed them to be able to like ask us questions, and it's just like a way of like attracting more people. So I think continuing that, hopefully, if we have another tent or table next year, would be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Ollie was there too, I don't know.
Yeah.
if you had
Ollie,
to-
did you want to speak about the event?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I completely agree with everything that Madeline and Ahmed have said. It was a really great event, and I think a lot of good feedback and input. And like Ahmed said, I think it's definitely important that we, should town did continue, that we do this again next year with another table, because this was a really great opportunity for us, and I think that we really succeeded with this.
Are there any questions for the volunteers who went? Okay. For our next item, Paige is gonna give us an update about her hygiene project.
Yeah, so Miss Dingra and I met with Jacqueline Powers, who's one of the representatives at the library, and we brought up our idea, our initiative, and just explained it to her. And she said it was really difficult. There's not a lot of space at the library because we were seeing how they have COVID tests there right now, but they kind of have to keep moving them. It's really difficult to like make like a solid place. And then we suggested maybe putting them in the bathrooms, but unfortunately there's a lot of vandalism that goes on in the bathrooms there. So then we brought up the idea of using the company Flo, which is in the high school and middle school bathrooms, and it's a nonprofit, and they have like dispensary machines for feminine products for free. And so we discussed that with Jacqueline, and she was going to email the company and see if we could get a quote or an estimate for what that would look like for putting them in the library for big like community spaces. And then we suggested maybe even the youth council fundraising for possibly the first year, and then trying to advocate for it to get put into the budget for a yearly like annual thing that it can always be there. So yeah.
That sounds good. Are there any other questions for Paige? Okay, I think you're definitely on like the right track, and it sounds like a good plan.
Thank you.
Ollie, are there any new updates for communications?
I don't have any new communications updates. I'd just like to say that hopefully in the near future we will be having those meetings started very soon. So I hope that will happen soon. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think that's like pretty much all we have so far. So I don't know if we wanted to like figure out the next meeting date. if there's any like proposals for what works for people. I know at the end of this month, like marching band's gonna be over, so hopefully it'll make it easier to schedule things.
So I can send a doodle poll again, and I'll send that out today after this meeting, so then we can have that date for our next meeting. I think that's what you all decided. It's to do a doodle poll.
Okay, that
I-
sounds good.
And I do have a couple things for item 11.
Okay, did you want to speak about that now?
Yeah, so at the last meeting, we talked about whether you all were going to host the Veterans Day cleanup again. And Veterans Day is actually coming up quickly. It's in a few weeks. It's November 11th, which is a Friday this year. So last year, the Youth Council hosted the cleanup and had 3 locations and made it kind of a fundraiser for veterans, and there was a big turnout. So what do people think about doing it again this year?
Madeline?
it'd be-
Oh, sorry. Madeline.
No, it's fine. I was gonna say, I think it's a really good idea, like, to bring it back again. I know that I'm not gonna be able to make it because I'm going away for Veterans Day weekend. But I think last year it was really, really successful, and I think now we've got a lot more information than we did last year on how things would go, like getting more bags and stuff like that in advance. So I think it could be a really good event again.
Juliana.
I agree with Madeline, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be there either, but if I am able to go, I really want to help out there.
I agree with them all, but I've attended and planned multiple cleanups, and I think that they're a good idea. But maybe also tying in with I think it was Paige's project. Maybe she could even use it as like an opportunity to fundraise, or we could like use it as an opportunity to do something else as well.
Yeah, so last year's, what the goal was, because they wanted to do something to honor veterans on that day, because it is there's a reason the day is off of school. So what they did, you all did, do you remember the goal of it? Do you want to tell everyone?
It was to help raise money for the veterans roll to Washington, I believe, so that they could go visit memorials and stuff like that.
So every pound of trash collected was, I think it was $1 for $1 match or something like
Yeah, I
that.
think so.
I can't remember exactly. So,
That sounds right. I think it was like $1 for every pound of trash.
yeah, so, and I think you raised a lot of money.
I think it was around like $1,400.
It was a lot
It
of
was
money.
a lot of money.
So it was great. And then, so it went directly to Wakefield veterans, then going to Vietnam Memorial down in Washington. So, but the only thing is we do need people to kind of step up and lead this initiative. So it'd be nice to have 2 or 3 of you kind of leading this, and you could partner with Warrior Cleanup Crew or other organizations, but the Youth Council need to create a flyer, get the word out.
I would be interested.
Okay,
I would also be interested.
okay.
Yeah, I could help with the planning. Yeah, I could help with that.
I was gonna say, I can definitely help with planning it, even though I won't be able to be there.
Okay, so Alla, Ollie, Madeline, and Ahmed. Okay, because we'll need champions at each station too. And then hopefully we'll have some new members by then too. We'll have 3 new members hopefully, so. So we'll have a meeting right before that. So, Ollie, would you be able to set up a communications subcommittee meeting to plan that cleanup?
Yeah, I can set up a meeting. So I'll send out. I can send out a doodle poll to everyone to see what time works best. So I'll set that up.
Okay, so for those 4 people, and then I can also just let everyone else know via the remind when that meeting's going to be in case someone wants to join in. But we'll definitely need all hands on deck for that day.
Can you remind me of those 4 names again, just so I can write them down?
Alla, Ollie, Madeline, Ahmed.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know when the new members are going to be here? Are they going to be for the next meeting?
I think we have Mr. Chines still on, so.
Yeah, so the member appointments will be on our next town council agenda, which is this coming Monday. Depending, assuming that you guys aren't going to meet between now and then, they should be set before your next meeting.
Oh, great. So that'll be nice to have 3 new members. I'm gonna ask him if there's anything else he'd like to update us.
Are there any other updates?
Let's see. Well, there's a lot going on in town. Just the only other update, I know Juliana mentioned the master plan community meeting tonight, which is a great opportunity to get involved. We have had a number of info sessions about the high school project as well, which is picking up some momentum and moving towards a place where we'll have a town meeting and then a town-wide vote for that, likely after the first of the year. So that's just something else that I'd encourage everyone to kind of pay attention to. Obviously, you guys, many of you may not be directly affected by it. Some of you may be. But, certainly in terms of being able to ask questions about, why the project might move forward and what some of the conditions are at the school today, I think having your voices as part of that discussion would be terrific. So those are probably the 2 big sort of participatory things that are out there. Oh, the third thing I do want to mention is we also are bringing back Wakefield 101 on Thursday. So we haven't done one of these in a while, but basically what this is an opportunity for new residents to kind of get oriented to Wakefield and the services that are available in town, some of the groups that are involved. This is something where certainly if you know people who are new to Wakefield that might be interested in attending, I'd absolutely encourage them to do so. And I don't think you guys have a table, but in the future, if that's something that you are interested in participating in as well, just to, again, drum up some interest in the Youth Council, that's certainly something we can help you out with too.
Sounds good. Thanks for the updates. So I think Wakefield 101, I'm going to be volunteering tomorrow for that. So that event is tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 if you know anyone who would be interested in going. Catherine, were there any other updates that we did not talk about?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So, yeah, just stay tuned for the doodle poll for the next meeting and Ollie's poll around the Veterans Day cleanup.
Sounds good. Do it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I just wanted to quickly mention, so I do like having the meetings on the half days. I think that it really, really works. But I didn't know if we wanted to move it maybe to closer to right after school, just so that it can kind of, like, since we're already, or at least most of us are already here, not necessarily like exactly after school, but just a little bit closer. I didn't know if anyone else would want that or not.
I agree with that. I think it would be easier if it was just right after school.
I also agree with that, but I do want to make sure that we all remember that the Galvin does get out half an hour later than, so we would have to accommodate for that difference in time.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I mean, I would happily get you guys pizza and, to have in the conference room down the hall so you can, have something to eat and while you're waiting for, but that makes sense to me, because I was wondering, I know some people like to go out to lunch afterwards, but you probably want to be done earlier. So, but this way, we have the meeting. Sadie, what time did you get out of the Galvin today?
11:20.
Okay, so we could have it at 11:45. Do you think you could make it by?
Probably, yeah.
What do people think about that? And then I could have pizza down in the conference room by 11:15, so you have some time to kind of have pizza, socialize, and then we'll start the meeting at 11:45.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Okay, so hopefully that works for WCAT. I don't know. I'm saying that loudly, but so we'll just have to check with WCAT to make sure that that works for them. So an 11:45 start time. Are we? And I'll double check to make sure we're allowed to start on the 15-minute increments. But I think that would be nice because then you're out of here and got the rest of your day. And meetings typically, like this meeting's going to be a half an hour, but it might be half an hour, 45 minutes. So
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially with sports and stuff.
yeah, and then what we could do too is plan some subcommittees. Ollie, I'm thinking of you too, right after that. So if some people want to stay and be part of the communication subcommittee, they could do that right after the regular youth council meeting. Or if it's just high schoolers, you guys might want to do that before the meeting, so you could start it earlier. Sounds good suggestion.
Were there any other things that we haven't mentioned? Okay. In that case, do I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I second.
Okay. Ahmed Othman,
Yes.
Ali Atui,
Yes.
Ala Othman,
Yes.
Elizabeth Menjivar,
Yes.
Juliana Spalding,
Yes.
Madeline Naper,
Yes.
Matthew O'Brien,
Yes.
Paige Arkansas,
Yes.
Sadie Lomnack,
Yes.
and Thomas Baronato.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you for being here at today's meeting, and we look forward to seeing you next time.